You have three as a manager, and you had one as a player as well. And when I look at those video clips, you guys embrace going after the three-peat. You embrace this villain mentality that everybody has labeled you guys with. This is something you're looking forward to, I imagine, Mookie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we kind of don't have much of a choice but to embrace it now, you know. But I mean, that's what makes it fun, you know. It's what makes it fun and something that hasn't been done before. And when you're doing things that hasn't been done before, there's going to be a lot of I don't want to call them all haters, but you know, something along those lines that comes with it. And so that's what it takes to be great.
Yeah. For you, Dave?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's actually good for me to go along with Mookie and chase rings because we're doing it together. And I do think that whole term of winners win, and people know how to win. And so for me to be able to go along with him, and we always make a joke about each of us where none of us is going to be able to surpass because now we're in together. So we're tied. So let's just keep collecting rings. But yeah, people can have their thoughts. But as Dodgers, we're just going to keep trying to accrue as many as we can.
You know, as a player, every year when the season's over, we all, you know, self-evaluate and say, okay, let me now look back on the year. What can I do in the offseason to make ourselves better? I'm sure, Mookie, you do that every single year because you're always getting better. But you guys win the World Series, and it's great. So I'm curious, you know, what did you do? One, you did your team job, but then from an individual standpoint, what do you self-evaluate possibly coming into this year? But as a manager, you've won back-to-back. What do you do as a manager different to self-evaluate and say, okay, what can I do better for the next year?
Yeah, as a player, for me, that World Series was one of the few times ever that I've really not thought about mechanics and just really just played the game because it was so hard and every play mattered so much that you really couldn't think about what you were doing. You just had to kind of be in like a flow state. And so I was really proud of myself to be able to get into the flow state and then be able to perform. So really, this offseason was just kind of resting and trusting and knowing that when I suit up here in a month, my body knows what to do and I just need to retrain it.
And I think for me, it's just trying to keep that carrot out there. I think that, you know, Mookie's already won 4, and, you know, Freddie's won a few, and guys, we've won and we're back-to-back, and appreciating the fact that April is not going to be October, and to try to think that it is unfair to the player. But I also think that that's why, for us, embracing the three-peat, I think that's something of a challenge to all of our guys, myself included, and to keep us motivated, you know, in the beginning of the season through spring training, and then obviously be ready for the postseason. But we're not going to run from it. We're going to embrace it. But I think for me, it's trying to find ways to keep guys engaged and focused.
Well, it seems like if anybody thought Mookie might move back to right field, that's not going to happen anymore officially now. And you're happy at shortstop, and it's a position I know you played as a kid, Mookie, and you played some when you were first coming up with the Red Sox, I think when you were 19 years old, not playing for the Red Sox, but in minor league ball, and then nothing for 10 years. And then you become a Gold Glove finalist. You worked tirelessly last offseason to become as best as you could possibly be there. And I want to ask both of you, I mean, when did you first feel like I'm a shortstop again? I'm not just playing shortstop. I feel like a shortstop. And Doc, you can maybe follow up by talking about when you noticed that, okay, now he's a shortstop again.
I think it's probably midway through the year is when I really kind of I had some errors early. I made a couple of errors early, and those were honestly plays that had never really happened. You know, it was the first time it's ever happened, which is my 12th year in the big leagues. So once I got through those and knew like how to train myself, then I felt like I could really kind of do anything. And so really now I'm fully comfortable as short. I love going out there. I love the grind of it. I love the mental state that it puts me in. And so for me, I feel like, yeah, I can win a Gold Glove there.
And I think for me, it's Mookie epitomizes what I believe in, what makes people great. He values the little things. He values the work. And he enjoys the work, speaking for Mookie, he enjoys the work more than the game itself, right? And then the rewards. And that's when you can get greatness. I think for me, to your question, John, there was a play he made, I think he was on the road. There was a play in the 6 hole, a backhand play that he got to his arm, and made a strong throw across his body, and he got the runner out by 2 steps. And at that point, I was like, that looked like a Gold Glove shortstop. And the other things, like there was an athlete playing shortstop, a grinder finding his way, but then there was a backhand play that he got to his arm and made a really good throw, and I was like, that was it. Yeah. And I think for me at that point in time, I think maybe in July or something like that, and he just took off and got better from that point on.
And that's a good point. There was a couple, I remember in Cincinnati, when you guys played Cincinnati, you made some plays that were just sick, and I was like, okay, now it's instinctive. He ain't thinking anymore. And it was
stuck his tongue out after one of them.
And I remember like, man, this is awesome. This is so great to see, but that's fun. But we were just talking about motivating you guys going in to try to three-peat as well. And then Freddie Freeman was here. We had Miguel Rojas, and I asked even Shohei and Tyron. I asked you guys, though. But does the front office also help as far as giving you guys a second win when they're going out and in the offseason, signing guys like Kyle Tucker, signing guys like Edwin Diaz, to make you guys better, say, listen, we want to three-peat as well. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, yes. You know, when you have your front office that wants to keep winning, it kind of, it's not pressure. It's like it puts things in perspective. Like, hey, you got to keep going. There is no, you can come up for air during the offseason for a second, but once the grind starts, it starts, and they want to win just as bad as we want to win. And so, like you said, it's super refreshing to know that. And I mean, I think anybody in the world would want to play for an organization that literally tells you every year, we want to win, go take care of your business.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that there's a science to keeping your core and then also getting guys on board that are hungry. You know, we did that with Teo last year. Right. We did that with Tucker this year, where guys want what these guys have, right? And I think there's something to that fact. We did that with Blake Snell, bringing Blake Snell in last year to kind of keep those guys hungry and to kind of raise the level of the group that's already won a couple, 2 or 3 championships.
Well, I watch Major League Baseball, and honestly, I don't know how you guys ever get a base hit. I really don't, because it looks impossible. And one time I was asking Nomar Mookie, like, how in the heck did you hit 372 one season? He said, I just minimized my slumps better than everybody else that year, and I know it's easier said than done. And I watched you last year. You're going through something for the very first time in your life. Like, you've been great at every sport, baseball, everything your entire life, and you admitted that you've never gone through something like what you went through last year. How difficult is that process to unlock what's really in there?
You know, that was, going through it was super, super difficult. Just because, like you said, it's uncharted territory, especially in a negative state. And so, but I really learned from it. I really learned a lot from it. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what it takes to continue to be successful, to minimize your slumps. And so hopefully this year I can kind of use what I learned. But I mean, the main thing I would say is just to keep playing, man. Just play the game. At some point, you just have to just play. I mean, it's
yeah. But the thing is, though, to interject is, I will say that even as he was going through that, the defense, the base running never wavered.
Never.
And every single night, he was doing something to help us win baseball games. So when you're talking about run prevent, you still got to win the baseball game. And so the plays that he's making at shortstop was saving runs and saving the bullpen uses, all that stuff that might not show up on the scorecard. Yeah. That's something that never, ever took a day off. And that's a winning player. And that's why he's got 4 rings. That's right.
What do you know, Dave, since Mookie's here and you're talking about that winning player, you know, one is admiring, and we all get to admire him, you know, as a fan, but you as a manager, it's one thing, you've learned so much as a manager, but what would you maybe learn that you've learned as a manager that you wish you did as a player, or taken from maybe somebody like Mookie, say, man, I wish I either had that perspective or did that one little thing, you know, as a player looking back?
Well, I think that he just has, I think that it's different because I was never on the Hall of Fame trek. So I think that, you know, there's certain players.
You are now,
that,
by the way.
Right.
Exactly right.
Yeah, on the field as a player. But I think that, you know, for guys like him and Freddie, where they're chasing, you know, longevity and consistency of performance, I do think, Nomar, there's something of like how to be able to take an 0 for 4, not make it an 0 for 8, to try to minimize the slumps as you did when you were with the Red Sox and at 372, as opposed to kind of being consistent in the short moments. And even I was talking to Will Smith. We went on a trip together, Mookie and I and Will, and he just says that he does a good job on trying to just focus on the at-bat, focus on the day. And I think for me, I got too far ahead of it as a player. That's why I try to talk about the day-to-day, the micro, just win a baseball game mindset. And I think if I could have done that, I would have been an overall better player. I wouldn't have been Hall of Famer, but I'd have been a better player.
Well, we know you guys have other places you need to be. We're going to let you go. But before I let you go, I want to ask, when you guys get together, you're members of the same country club, and you played with President Obama recently, Mookie. But between the two of you, who's taking whose money on the golf course?
He's taking my money, and I'm still getting strokes. He already took my money a couple days ago, so he's taking my money.
No, we
have fun. How about that?
We're gonna have fun. We have fun on the road. We have fun at Lakeside. So we got a lot more golf. Doc's getting better though. So
all right,
I
don't have long.
Awesome, Mookie, Dave. Thank you guys so much for coming on with us. We'll catch up with you guys at spring training in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, fellas.
All right, still more to come here from Dodger.